Hi, I'm Ross Tregenza. I'm a composer for video games, primarily in the area of horror, sci-fi, anything dark and experimental is what I'm really interested in composing. I'm always on the lookout for intriguing new instruments because I find they push my work into exciting new areas, and forcing yourself to sort of think outside the box and just try new ways of approaching composing. And really it's all about finding your personality and finding tools that help you express your personality in your music. So this takes me to the story of visiting the Games Developers Conference in San Francisco last year, I think. And I was with some composer buddies and we went to a really cool music store a little bit out of the main area that I'd been walking around in San Francisco. I'll try and find the name of it and post it here because the guy that ran it was lovely and just let us play on all his synths and stuff. And it was there that I got my hands on an Osmose for the first time, and the second I touched it, I was in love. I knew from the first press of the button, feeling the aftertouch and the feeling the wiggle, which you'll see in a bit. I just knew that I was going to buy myself one the second I got back to England, which is exactly what I did. A quick disclaimer. When I played with it for a while and realised how in love I was with the Osmose, I contacted Expressive E, who make it, and I said, I love your synth. Is there anything we can do together? Because I just want to tell people how much I love it and the stuff I use it for. So I already had the Osmose, so there was no money or anything changing hands. But they did send me some of their software, which I'll talk about in another video. But for now, I really want to focus in this video on the core important values of the Osmose and how I use it in horror composing. So let's discuss modern horror. Obviously I'm on the game side of things, but I think the principles that I'm talking about here are relevant for both video games and film, and I guess TV and any other media that involves horror. We're really in a new era of horror. It's become very, very popular again. I mean, it's never gone away, but it sort of ebbs and flows over the years. But I'd say in the last 5 years in particular, it's become a real hit in the cinemas and in video games. And so what that means is we have a lot more horror around, and really to stand out from the whole sea of content out there, people are getting really inventive and really experimental and unusual with the sounds that they're using for horror. You're seeing a lot of tracks involving sound design elements, and you get crazy instruments like the apprehension engine that Mark Corvin used on The Witch, and I think he used it in The Lighthouse as well. And you'll just hear that a lot of this really good, edgy modern horror is just very, very unusual. And you can't really achieve that stuff just by using, just plain software stuff from standard tools that everyone uses. You have to get a little bit inventive. So that's what I try and do. I've got a load of different crazy instruments from companies like Soma Labs, a lot of handmade things like I have a tool called the Scary Crown, which is made by some guys called, they're called Assam. Again, I'll try and link to it if I can find the name, which I play with a bow. I love that. And now in my arsenal of unusual tools for horror is the Osmose. So I think probably the easiest thing to do is to go over it. You can see it sitting here underneath my modular. Let's go over and I'll just run through the things I like about it, and you can see why it's so useful for horror. So this is the Osmose. There's so much that I love about it, but really I think the first step is the sensitivity. What I like to do, and because you need to do this kind of sound a lot for horror stuff, it's just sort of shimmering tension. But listen, if I just rest my hands over it, I'm barely putting any pressure on that, and you're getting that sensitivity and that slight lateral wobble, which we'll talk about in a second. So you get this lovely, beautiful alien shimmer. Isn't that fantastic? And that's just barely touching it. So the next thing that is amazing about it is the aftertouch. Now, normally aftertouch on a synth, to be honest, I often forget about using it just because you have to like press the key down and then it's like a second gesture all on its own, which just feels like a bit of a detachment from what you were doing. So yeah, you quite often forget about trying it. And most keyboards will have like cool things that can be done with the aftertouch, but nothing is like this keyboard. So you'll see it's raised about, what's that, like about 1.5 centimeters, maybe, quite raised. The first part takes us down to full pressure on the note. Then the second part is the aftertouch. So you've got a huge amount of extra push there on the aftertouch. The sensation of it is hard to explain. It's almost like if you ask someone to put their hand out and keep it there and then you push down like that. It's that kind of springy, organic resistance, which just makes for amazing performance playing. So like if I press down and then go down into the aftertouch, like by the bottom there, I mean I'm having to use a bit of hoof. That's not a phrase. And so it's amazing. You go for, so you see the range there. You got from gentle little shimmer, and then we can go. You see how amazingly useful that could be for like composing horror and for just adding human emotion into horror. So let's say, I mean, we've got like this sort of gentle scene. And then it kind of feels like it goes wrong. So cool. And that brings us to probably the most famous feature of the Osmose, which is this. Lateral vibrato, I guess you would call it. I call it wobbly fingers. It's incredibly sensitive. It takes some time to learn how to use it nicely. Because quite often I'll be concentrating, I'll be playing like a little bass note down here. And doing it consciously up here. But you have to make sure your hands, because your hands obviously on normal piano don't have to worry about the lateral sway. So unless you want the lateral sway, you have to be careful to maintain that and not get any discordance that you don't want. See how otherworldly that sounds? It's just so cool. And if you layer, which I'm going to do in a minute, you layer like a lot of this on top of each other, you get these textures you just couldn't achieve in any other way. It's phenomenal. So you have all of those individual factors. You have, let's call it the y-axis, where you're pushing down into aftertouch. You have the x-axis of the lateral wobbly fingers. And then, so you've got there, it's like if you picture it like a square, you can move down, but you're moving left and right at the same time. And hear how it changes on the way down. So each one of these notes becomes this little world of complex sound. And what's absolutely mind-blowing is this is per note. So that could be going on there, whereas this is going. Just crazy. So you have per note stuff going on. So simple notes could be happening, shimmers could be happening up here, and then happening down there. Unbelievable. It's just so darn cool. And something else you can do because of the per note situation is you can kind of get that swarmatron sound. I'll see if I can find a link to put in the description. There's a great video with Trent Reznor talking about the swarmatron, which I think he used in The Social Network, the film that he scored. It's a very rare instrument, but it has like a swarm of sound that kind of pulls apart and goes back together again. Normally, that's almost impossible to achieve, on a quick, organic performance basis. But with this, listen. Amazing. So I'm pulling my hand apart, pushing it together like a little claw, and pushing down at the same time. So you're getting this chord that's spreading out and tonally spreading out into discordance and coming back again while you're pushing down and changing the tone. Absolutely amazing. I mean, and this is just the sounds on the keyboard. I mean, I'm keeping it simple and just doing one sound for this video because I wanted to really show you the techniques you can do. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to now get a few different layers of content from this one sound, and I'm just going to quickly throw it into Cubase, maybe chuck some simple drums on top or something, and show you how I promise, I swear on my life, I'll do it in, what shall I say, 20 minutes. I'll make a song, and then I'll put it in the video so you can hear what you can achieve in that short a time with this beautiful device. I love it. It's so cool. So there we go. I hope that kind of gives you a bit of an idea of why it's such a special and unusual piece of equipment. I think Hans Zimmer called it the most important innovation in music technology in 100 years, and he may not be wrong. It's hard to express how different it is and how much freedom it gives you. It's a tool that needs to be learned, and it's a real pleasure to learn. And MPE is a format that really expands your options in control. Is now being used really widely on soft synth. So, I mean, while the sounds on board are beautiful and worth it alone, you can get an Osmose and then it can become your central keyboard for controlling all manner of other soft synths and things. Honestly, I just love it. I really just wanted to make this video to let people know what an amazing piece of equipment it is, and if you get a chance to play one somewhere, that's when you'll fall in love with it. Just give it a go and it'll be love at first wiggle. That sounded really wrong. Thanks for listening.